Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Paul. This is It's a Camping Thing, and right here is the Vango Banshee 300 Pro. I've had this tent in my possession now for the last 3 years. I purchased it in 2019. I used it in a Somerset camping trip where we had a huge storm, like 40 odd mile an hour winds. I was literally the only tent that was brave enough to be there that day. And yeah, it's a great tent. However, now I'm thinking about possibly using it on my next wild camping trip. Now, last time out on this channel, I used the Vango Banshee 200 Pro, which is a slightly smaller version of this tent. This is stated as a 3-person tent, but realistically it's a 2-person tent. And the Vango Banshee 200 Pro is realistically a 1-person tent, even though it's stated as a 2. So this might be better for me in regards to the fact that I can fit more gear in the tent with me, because obviously I'm going to be going alone. And again, I'm just weighing up the pros and cons. The larger pack size of this, would it be better? I don't know. That's why I'm here to find out. Now, as I said, I've had this tent for a few years now, and it stood up to some really, really strong winds. I remember being in this and thinking, it's going to go, it's going to go. And you know what? It didn't let me down at all. So in that respect, I think it's a fantastic tent. It also goes up, the inner and the outer go up as one, which I love, because here in the UK we're normally accustomed to, I say normally, we haven't had any rain for a while, but we're normally accustomed to a lot of rain. And if you're going to put the inner up and then the outer up after that, if it's pouring down with rain, and then your inner's going to get soaked through by the time you've got the outer on, especially if it's blowing a gale as well. Now the poles, there are 2 of them. It is a tunnel tent, and they are colour coded. I believe it's the yellow one for the front, and this is the red. So that's the red. Yeah. Having put the Vango Banshee 200 up yesterday, the smaller one, these look mega long compared to those. Oh wow. Oh dear. Houston, I have a problem. Wow, I'd actually forgotten how big this is inside. I still believe it is a 2-person tent. You're not going to get 3 pads or sleeping beds in here. No way, not single ones at all. You could sleep 3 people in here, but you would have to go without the comforts. Let's bring that down. Now, I've got 2 doors, like the Vango Banshee 200. That side's got no vestibule, this side has. We've got the tension bands up here, which are probably just a little bit out of shot. But when it gets stormy, you can add a little bit more tension into the tent and just make it a little bit more stable during those high gusty winds. This side, we've got a vestibule. Yeah, that's more or less about the same size. Obviously, we've got another door there as well. Yeah. Oh dear. I forgot how big this is, how wide it is in comparison. You see, I can sleep on one side, I can have my kit on the other side. If it's pouring down with rain, that's going to be an advantage. Whereas in the 200, it's going to be a little bit more, yeah, essentials only inside. Same bed as I used on the other video, called the U Sport, sadly discontinued. Very, very comfortable. Doesn't come with an inbuilt pump, but that's okay. Has an inbuilt pillow, but I'm using a Flextail Gear tiny pump to inflate. Let that do its magic. Which it does, because it inflates incredibly quickly for such a tiny device. This one inflates incredibly quickly. This Flextail Gear tiny pump We're almost there already. It's incredible how fast it inflates. Make sure that seals all the way down. And then push the bed over on that side, because we've got the vestibule on this side. And of course we need pillows as well. I like pillows, I like a lot of pillows. So these are the Trekology A-Luft 2.0 pillows. Sort the valve out and then inflate. First one done. A lovely shade of orange, that one. Job done. A lovely shade of turquoise. I like that one. Now, in my last video, I was camping out here in my garden using the Vango Banshee 200 Pro. And for that video, I slept out in the Vango Treklight Ultra 600 sleeping bag, which I've got right here. Now, for me, personally, I didn't find this warm enough. I didn't feel much of a temperature variation from being inside the sleeping bag to being outside the sleeping bag. According to weather forecast, it was around about 13 degrees centigrade last night. It was a little bit on the chilly side, but yeah, I was very disappointed with this, to be honest with you. So I'm now going to be using a different sleeping bag for tonight. I'm going to be using the Vango Nightstar 375 Alpha sleeping bag. This is a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier. The pack size is a little bit bigger. That's why I opted to try this first. But as I was cold in this, I'm going to go for this, because there's nothing worse than trying to get a good night's sleep and you're cold and you're just laying there. Nothing worse, in my opinion. I'd rather be a little bit warmer and take a slightly larger pack size. So for that, that's why I'm going to be trying this one tonight. What I like about a sleeping bag as well, it's a little bit wider. I'm actually quite broad-shouldered, and I do appreciate the extra width this bag offers, 83 centimetres wide. Seems to be a little bit of a thing at the moment where a lot of sleeping bags are trying to get down to about 75, 78 centimetres wide. And for those of us who are broad-shouldered, that's just not adequate enough. That's another reason why I prefer this bag over the others. Okay, that's the tent all set up for tonight's camping. I'm really looking forward to it. This Vango Banshee 300 Pro, for me, is a personal choice, because everybody's needs are different from one another. Some people like a minimalistic approach where they take the bare absolute minimum, and some people like a little bit more comfort, and it's finding that balance that we've all got to find. There's no one track route for everybody. Now for me, if the weather turns nasty, this is definitely the better option. And in the UK, synonymous for rain, it probably is going to be the better option when all's said and done. Now, the Vango Banshee 200 is a smaller, it's more compact, and yes, ideally, I would love to be using that. But on second thoughts, maybe this one's a better option. Again, it's just finding that right balance that suits me. And what suits you may be different from me and from the next person and next person, next person. And that's what I love about camping. It's a little bit of a self-exploration where we're all trying to find that difference, that balance between comfort and what's practical. We don't want to take everything, including the kitchen sink after all, but we want to be comfortable to our own degree. And that is what this inevitably is all about. Right, I'm now going to wait till nightfall, till I can get in there, have a good night's sleep, fingers crossed. And yeah, I shall see you later on. Well, good evening folks, you join me back in the tent. It's just gone 5 to 10 at night. Been quite a long day actually. I was up early this morning at 5 o'clock in the Vango Banshee 200 Pro. We're in the 300 now, trying out the extra bit of space that this tent affords. And I've got to say folks, actually, I like the extra space. It's each to their own really on this, a matter of preference really, but for me, myself, I don't really want to sleep in a nylon coffin. I want to sleep in a little bit of space. I don't like feeling claustrophobic, and this tent kind of fits that middle ground where it's small, compact and light enough, yet also offers a decent amount of space inside, especially for one person like myself. So I'm more than happy with the 300 over the 200. So again, my opinions have been fluctuating on this matter, but again, as I've said before, it's a personal preference, and what suits one person might not necessarily suit somebody else. That's why there's no such thing as a perfect tent, because what suits one may not suit the next person. I thought I put fresh batteries in this. There we go. Must be dodgy batteries. I mean, I only put them in yesterday, but yeah, it seems to be working okay now. So yeah, my preference has been fluctuating with these two tents, but I'm pretty much sold on this now. The 200, although it's a great little compact tent, for me, probably at my age, in my mid-40s, this is probably a little bit more my liking than the more compact 200. And this is why I always say about no such thing as perfect tent. So yeah, anyway folks, it's getting late. I shall see you in the morning. I'm going to get my head down. It's been a long old day, so I shall catch you in the morning. Oh, 5:49. What's the temperature? 16 degrees. That's interesting. Well, good morning, everybody. Had a great night's sleep, although not very long, but had a great night's sleep. When I tried out the Vango Banshee 200, the tent was okay, but being in here and being reminded of the extra width of this tent and the practicality of that, I think it really makes sense for me to choose this tent over the 200. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, 200 is more than adequate. I use it all the time and that. Yeah, I get that. But again, it's a personal choice. It's what suits one person to the other. Personally, I found the 200 was a little bit claustrophobic when I first purchased it, and that has changed slightly over the last couple of years that I've had it. But yeah, I mean, I've got everything in here I want. I mean, I'm not going to be using the food, but I've got my food in here, my coffee. I've got my JetBuzz zip. I've got all that in here. I've got plenty of room. Got my bottle of water. Yeah, power bank. You know, I could fit everything that I need in here. So I'm really, really happy with that. Right, folks, I need to get Buster fed and then later watered. Watered. He's not a flower. I have just woken up. I do apologise. Yeah, the 300 for me is just that little bit wider, and for my personal needs, with all the gear that I know that I'm going to have to take, what with the video gear, the photography gear, it just makes better sense with this. Also as well, I mean, right now it looks like it's going to rain at any moment. If it does rain, then I know the fact that I've got my bed on one side and I can sit on the other, and I can separate the two. There's nothing worse than laying down for 9, maybe 10 hours at a time, and then you get that backache, you know, when you've been laying down for too long and you just feel like you need to get up. At least in here, I know I've got that extra room, so I've got that extra little bit of shelter room, as well as room for my kit as well. Haven't you gone yet? In the end of the day, both these tents are exceptional. They're both very good tents. The 300 I had up in a storm in 2019. It held up brilliantly. The 200 should be even better as it's more streamlined. It's narrower, should fight that strong winds coming up. So they're both exceptional tents. The fact of the matter is, it's what tent suits me. And I really wish that I was a person that was more suited to the 200. It's just more compact. But sadly, when I really think about it, I'm more suited to the 300. What with all my video and camera equipment, the 300 is probably better suited to my needs right now. But that's not to say that that won't change in the future. I know there's a lot of people that go out in the 200 and they love it and they have great camping success with it. But for me, thinking about my needs, I'm more towards that one. It's all about the detail in the end of the day. And speaking of detail, here's a question for you. How many outfits have I worn during the course of this video? I'd really like to know, because I don't know. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Just for fun, no prizes. But yeah, just a little bit of fun for you out there. I want to thank you very much for watching. The clouds are coming in. It looks like rain's due imminently, so I want to get these up off the ground and put away. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video or found it in any way entertaining, please consider liking, leaving a comment and subscribing to the channel and clicking on that bell icon to notify all future video releases. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far, I know these videos do go on a little bit. But yeah, all that's left for me to do is pack the one that I'm going to take on my wild camp, which is obviously going to be... yeah, I still can't decide. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo... No. I tell you what, you'll have to subscribe to the channel and find out when I do go wild camping which tent I actually use. Take care, folks.